everybody, it's Mrs. Krietemeyer in the library, and today I'm going to read you a holiday story that takes place in a library. Now, this is a story about a cat named Dewey. Wonder why they named him Dewey. I bet it has something to do with the Dewey Decimal System. And the cool thing is even though the story I'm about to read you is fiction, the cat Dewey was real. He was a cat that was abandoned at a library. So the librarian decided to adopt him and let him live in the library as a library cat. And she wrote a book about her experiences with the cat. And that book was so popular that she decided to start writing fiction stories about the adventures of Dewey the cat. So without further ado, here is the story, Dewey, Christmas in the Library. Now, our dedication page says, "For all the children I have loved in my life," and that's the dedication by Vicki Myron. She is one of the authors of this book. And the second dedication is for Beth and the Kids, and that's by Brett Witter, the other author of this book. And the illustrations are done by Steve James. Snow and ice, twinkling lights, kids bundled up on a cold winter night. Hot chocolate and Santa Claus, and decorations just right. In the small town of Spencer, Iowa, Christmas was everyone's favorite time of the year. Everyone, that is, except Dewey Read More Books, the town's one-year-old library cat. Dewey, you see, was just learning about the holidays. On Halloween, Dewey discovered candy. He slept through Thanksgiving. So when the giant Christmas tree box came out of storage, Dewey didn't know what to expect. But when he saw those tree branches, Dewey knew just what to do. He sniffed and licked and cuddled them, and hopped and wrestled and rolled. "I got a present," he sang as he danced. "A great big delicious present." Glitter came next. Then angels, tinsel, lights. Dewey was having the time of his life. Now I wonder, do any of you have cats that like to get into the tree and the ornaments? And then everything went quiet. Too quiet. Dewey's friend, Vicki the librarian, had been helping the children at the craft table. She looked around. "Where's Dewey?" she wondered. All of a sudden, Dewey came racing past, but he didn't look like himself. He looked like a great big marshmallow cat. Well, I cannot turn this page. The children chased him left, then right, to the front, to the side, until they finally caught him in the picture book aisle. "Don't worry, Dewey," the oldest boy laughed. "It's just a paper bag." Dewey was free, but he was not happy. "Nasty bag monster," he thought, curling up in a wreath to lick his fur. But it was Christmas time. Excitement was in the air. Before he even finished licking his tail, something new caught Dewey's eye. "If I sneak," he thought, "and stretch and pounce, I think I can." "Catch that skinny red mouse!" Doesn't look exactly like a mouse to me, but I'm thinking I know why Dewey thought that this piece of yarn was actually a mouse. Dewey swung on the end. The yarn bounced on his head. He chased and reached and pounced again. The ball tackled him instead. And the next thing Dewey knew, he was all tangled up in red yarn. "Dewey's funny," a little girl said. Dewey looked up. All the children were watching him. And behind them was a big, beautifully decorated Christmas tree. "Wowsy whiskers," Dewey thought as he looked at the tree. It's terrific, and it's all for me." All day, Dewey lay happily under his tree. That night he explored up and down, round and round. Dewey and his red yarn wound through the branches and the decorations on the tree. "Oh my," Vicky said when she saw the tree the next morning. It was covered with yarn, and it looked fantastic. "Great idea, Dewey," Vicky said. Then she smiled, petted Dewey on the head, picked up the tree, and carried it right out the front door. Trailing behind her like a lost kitten was Dewey's new ball of yarn. "But it's mine," Dewey thought. That day the library was closed, so Dewey moped. "Yuck," he said to his food. "Double yuck," he said to his water dish. He pushed away his favorite toy. He ignored his bed. Christmas is lonely, Dewey thought, even with the wreaths and lights. Dewey was still curled up on the floor when the librarians came back Monday morning. First, they brought the stuffed cats. So what, Dewey thought. Then the cat books. A little better. Then, my tree, my terrific tree. "We won first prize," Vicky said, pointing to the blue first place ribbon. "And it was all because of your yarn idea, Dewey." But Dewey didn't care about the first prize. He was just happy to have his Christmas tree back, and he knew deep in his heart the award wasn't all because of him. He had a little help. And now Dewey wanted to share his delicious tree and his special first Christmas with all his friends too. Friends like you. And that's the end. And then we have a little blurb at the end, and it shows a picture of Vicki Myron, the librarian who found Dewey, and Dewey is in the picture. So I hope you enjoyed that book about Dewey the library cat. There's a couple other Dewey books that we have here in the library if you're interested in reading more about him. And I hope you have a wonderful break.